Hi, I'm Cassidy, and I'm going to be going over a couple questions. The first one is, what are two core trade-offs that firms must make in order to achieve competitive advantage? The first I'm going to start with is an example from the reading, and it's based on Nordstrom. And what Nordstrom would do is they would be taking the biggest sales volume that comes into their company, and they would be targeting certain households with the certain budgets that they obtained, and they would target them because they knew it was the highest driving amount of income that would come into their business. So by targeting them, they would get more business. And they knew that they had like a higher amount of income to then come into Nordstrom. Another example would be IKEA, and they would follow a certain model. And within this, there were tactics that were for not only the people within the firm, but for people out of the firm that didn't even know that they were involved. So within firms, there are limits and coordinations of control, and there are some people that blatantly show that they do not want to accept trade-offs, and they will send mixed signals and confusion within the firms to show that they do not want to go in with the trade-off. Basically, what a firm is trying to do is they want to maximize a wedge between the supplier opportunity cost and their customers' willingness to pay. The firms that command and sustain the larger wedge between their peers are said to have more of that competitive advantage, and that is what we want. The next question is, why is dual advantage hard to achieve? Basically, it's hard to achieve because we want to increase customers' willingness to pay while also lowering the cost, but not too low that the firm or industry or what have you is still making enough money. So basically, there was an example in the 70s and 90s where the Japanese manufacturer would reduce the defect rates, and then it would allow them to make better products to sell at a higher cost to their customers. Another example is, let's say Verizon and T-Mobile are launching out with a new phone that is a higher tech of touch technology, and whoever comes out with it first, if it's Verizon, then they're setting the premium for how much the phone is going to cost. So they have an advantage amongst all other phone companies. So just like in the reading, they were talking about chips, of coming out with a new chip from a certain phone company. So by having that premium and by setting that cost, you have an advantage amongst your peers. Basically, dual advantage can happen, but it takes a lot of time, and sometimes it does not play out as expected. The last question is, how can analysis like us understand the strategy by using analyses you read within the readings this week? All in all, in other words, what do these analyses tell us about the firm's competitive strategy? So first off, competitive advantage helps strategists analyze and see differences that are within all industries. A firm has advantage over many rivals if it has a larger wedge between the number of customers that are willing to pay and the costs that are incurred, which I already had mentioned before. Basically, if a customer's willingness to pay is they are willing to pay based on the quality and quantity they are getting. So if it's a good price, or if they're getting a bundle for a good deal, such as getting something from Costco or getting a bundle from Walmart, whatever is the better deal or better quality, then the customer is more likely to go towards that product. The supplier opportunity cost then is basically, it's symmetrical to the willingness to pay. It's the smallest amount the customer will then accept for services and certain items that they need for the services to then be completed and done. All in all, competitive advantage is one that will have added value. So if you have competitive advantage over like another industry, then I mean, that is good. And that is all.